If you've ever dreamed about quitting your 9-to-5 job, retiring early, or simply taking control of your time, then stick around because today I'm diving into a movement that is all about that life, the FIRE movement. Let's break down what FIRE is, how it works, and whether it's something you should consider for your own life. So grab your favorite drink and let's get into it. All right, let's start with the basics. FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And the concept is pretty straightforward. Save and invest aggressively in the first half of your life so that you can live off your investments and retire way earlier than the traditional age of 65. But here's the kicker. FIRE isn't just about retiring early. It's about gaining financial freedom so that you can choose how to spend your time. That might mean quitting your job, starting your dream business, traveling the world, or just having the peace of mind to do absolutely nothing if that's what you feel like. The FIRE movement started gaining traction thanks to books like Your Money or Your Life by Joe Dominguez and Vicki Robin, and the classic Early Retirement Extreme by Jacob Lund-Fisker, which actually started as a blog. But I would say the FIRE movement really blew up in the 2010s as people shared their FIRE journeys on blogs, forums, and the most popular blogger of all, Mr. Money Mustache, gained quite a large following. Okay, let's get a bit practical. How does FIRE actually work? Well, the foundation of FIRE is built on three main pillars. The first is cutting expenses. If you want to reach financial independence faster, you've got to be intentional with your spending. This doesn't mean you have to live off instant ramen noodles forever, but being intentional with your spending does mean being mindful of what you spend on. If you can focus on spending on what you truly value and cutting out the rest, I think you're on the right track. Because the less you need to live on, the more you can save and the sooner you can retire. The second pillar of FIRE is increasing income. Now this could mean negotiating a raise at your job, picking up a side hustle, investing in real estate, or if you're like me, turning your passions into income streams. Every extra dollar that you earn gets you closer to your FIRE goal, especially if you funnel it straight into investments. And the third pillar is investing aggressively. Now, you'll hear a lot, especially in the FIRE movement, about low-cost index funds, and I do think that's the way to go. They're simple, effective, and they let you ride the growth of the stock market over the long term. The idea is to let your investments grow to the point where you can live off of them indefinitely thanks to the magic of compounding. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but how do I know when I've reached financial independence? Well, this is where the famous 4% rule comes in. The rule says that you can live off 4% of your investments per year, and if you do that, your portfolio should last for at least 30 years, hopefully longer if you are retiring early. So let's say your annual expenses are $40,000 annually. Using the 4% rule, you'd need a nest egg of $1 million to retire comfortably. The quick math breakdown works like this. You can take your $40,000 of annual expenses, divide that by 4%, and you've got $1 million. But there's another way to do this that I actually prefer, which is to take your annual spending, $40,000, and multiply it by 25. That's going to get you to that same number, $1 million. Now, not everyone approaches FIRE the same way. There are actually a few different flavors of FIRE, and depending on your lifestyle, one might appeal to you more than the others. The first main flavor of FIRE is going to be lean FIRE. This is for the ultra frugal folks who plan to live on a very low budget, no frills, usually well below the national average of spending. And if you're okay with a minimalist lifestyle, especially if you're single or if it's just you and your partner and you're both okay with that lifestyle, this absolutely could work for you. And if that's the case, then great, you're going to get to FIRE faster because you need to live on less. On the flip side, there's fat FIRE, where you want to retire early but still live a more luxurious lifestyle. Think lots of dinners out, travel, all that fancy stuff without sacrificing and without stressing about money. A third flavor of FIRE is called barista FIRE. Now, this one's kind of a hybrid. You retire early from your main career, but then you take up a low-stress part-time job like being a barista at a coffee shop, hence the name. And this allows you to cover some expenses and probably get health insurance and step away from your full-time job, become FIRE, but you're still, for the time being, reliant on a part-time gig. So not fully retired, but you've managed to step away from the full-time job that you had that you may not have liked, and you're partway to FIRE, but you're supplementing it with a part-time job. Now let's talk pros and cons of the FIRE lifestyle, because like everything in life, the FIRE movement has its pros and cons. So let's be real here for a minute. The pros of FIRE are, first and foremost, the freedom and flexibility. I mean, this is what it's all about. When you achieve FIRE, you gain control over your time. And if you're fully financially independent, you have complete control over your time. You can choose to work. You could choose to work a part-time job. You could choose to do your own side hustle. You could choose to even remain working in your full-time career. But the whole point is that it's your choice because you do have that control over your time and how you spend it. The second pro is less stress about money. I mean, take a look around out there. The majority of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and that's a stressful way to live. Knowing you're financially independent, or even close to it, brings incredible peace of mind. Another pro is more time for passions. Whether it's hobbies, traveling, or just spending more time with loved ones, you get to focus on what matters to you. Now, what about cons? There are a few cons to the FIRE movement. One is that you're going to sacrifice in the short term for this longer term goal. There is sacrifice involved because in order to achieve financial independence, you need to achieve a high savings rate. And the intense savings rate might mean skipping out on some luxuries or some of the frills in life that you might enjoy right now because you want to achieve financial freedom down the road. Another con is the investment risks involved. If the market crashes early in your retirement, it could definitely affect your plans, derail that retirement, especially if it's an early retirement. So this is another place where you might have some extra stress because you have to keep a close eye on the market to make sure that it's going to provide the returns that you need to support your FIRE plan. Another con is social isolation. Now, this won't affect everyone, but quitting the traditional workforce can sometimes feel isolating, especially if your social outlet in life is your job. Your coworkers are also your friends. Maybe you go out to happy hours, go out to eat with them, do social events with them. And if you step away from that, those people that were your friends / coworkers might kind of fade away. I have not experienced that myself, but I could imagine that being an issue for some people in some jobs. And of course, if you do plan to retire early, you may step away from your job, look around for people to hang out with, and find that there's not many people available because they're all still working. So is FIRE right for you? Should you go all in on FIRE? Well, that depends on your goals, and I think it also depends on your personality. If you're someone who loves the challenge of saving and optimizing and watching your money and your spending very carefully, it may be a perfect fit. But if the idea of cutting expenses to the bone and tracking your spending sounds miserable, well then you're maybe a candidate for a more moderate approach like Coast FIRE, which is actually another version of FIRE that I haven't talked about, where you save a lot up front, but then you kind of relax and let those savings compound for you over the years and decades, reach financial independence eventually, but further down the road. And this is a more moderate approach that allows you to spend more and maybe possibly enjoy that journey towards financial independence a little more, even though it could take longer to get there. For some personality types, Coast FIRE could definitely work better. It's all about finding a balance that works for you. The FIRE movement is about more than just money. It's about creating a life that aligns with your values. Whether you decide to pursue lean FIRE, fat FIRE, or something in between, the key takeaway here is that financial independence gives you options. And in my opinion, that's the ultimate freedom. And if you're interested in calculating your own financial independence number and figuring out exactly how long it might take you to get to financial independence, well, you can learn how to do that in this video right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.